A fully working burglar alarm is essential in this day and age. You really should have a good working burglar alarm on your property. If you have got one, it's also important that you use it all the time. If you don't use it, it's pointless having it. You also need to ensure that it's working properly. There's nothing worse than an alarm that's going off. If it goes off all the time, it's like the boy who cried wolf, people will just ignore it. We're now going to install this Honeywell Accenta Mini. This comprises of an actual alarm and it also has a remote keypad. So we're going to install this in this actual garage, but it's exactly the same if you are installing this in your home. We're going to run the cables through the loft space, we're going to put a magnetic door contact in, an external bell box and an internal PIR. That will then alarm should anybody break into the garage, and it's a really good way of warning you that somebody is trying to break into your property. It is well worth having one of these on your property. This is the kit we're going to be fitting. That's the actual alarm panel itself where all the wiring takes place. That's the remote keypad, the instructions, magnetic door contacts, PIR and external bell box. Also, when you buy one of these, you're going to need a backup battery, which is essential. So that is the backup battery for that control panel. We're now going to get all this wired up and we're going to get it working as soon as possible. We're going to start off by mounting the panel on this wall. This is up in the loft space. If you look on the back, you can see that we've got quite a few fixing holes. We're going to start off by putting one screw in, and then we can hang the panel on that, and then we can mark these two, and then we can fix the panel to the wall. So we're now going to put some safety glasses on, then we're going to drill a 7mm hole using the SDS drill. Now we've done that, we can now hang the alarm on that screw. We can then use a marker and mark through where the other two holes need drilling. We can now drill those two holes. We can now hang the panel back on there and we can screw it in position. That's the panel now firmly fixed in position. We're now going to connect the leads up to the battery. So the red wire goes into positive and the black wire goes into negative. You just push those in there and just tighten those terminals up. I'm then going to connect up the positive terminal. As soon as we do this, the alarm will need the code 0123 entering in the key panel to silence it. So you can now see that we've got all the links into the zones that we're not using. Zone 1 and 2 are wired up, the remote keypads are wired up, and also the bell box outside is wired up. So we can now replace the cover on this unit. And that will push the tamper spring back. You can now push the fuse in on the fuse connection unit that we wired up earlier, and you'll see that we have this illuminated LED. That is showing that the unit has actually got the power. Now all we need to do is program the unit. We're now going to remove the fuse holder just by prising it out with a screwdriver, and then we're going to push a 3 amp fuse into the fuse holder, and then we're going to close that. I'm now going to enter the engineering mode, so I'm going to press P and then 9999. The SOS light is now lit up. That means that we are now in the engineering mode. I'm now going to press 0. That means that we can now do a walk test. I'm now going to go and open the door on the garage. When I open the door, zone 1 should light up, and then when I enter the garage, the PIR should pick me up on zone 2. Now I'm going to test out the PIR, which is zone 2. And you can see that as soon as I moved, the PIR did pick me up. So zones 1 and 2 are working as they should, so we can now exit the menu. I've now just pressed the cross button twice to return back to the menu. I'm now going to put it back into engineering mode again. I can now press number 2, that will test the strobe. Then I can press 2 to stop the strobe. And we can now test the external siren by pressing 3. And we can stop it by pressing 3. We're then just going to press cross twice. And that has put the alarm back to its normal operation. So that is how to set up the alarm and get it working. When you've done that, there are loads of features that you can program into the alarm if you want to. You can do all sorts to the various zones. We're not going to do that. This has simply been how to install the actual keypad, get the alarm working and get it powered up. It's a good idea when you've installed your alarm to print off a label like that telling you what each of these buttons does. These buttons used to say chime, emit, reset, program and set, and then all of a sudden they stopped putting the letters on and they started putting symbols on, which don't mean a great deal. So normally I would print off a label like that, put it on the inside of the cover there, so you can't see it when the cover's up, and you know that that is chime, that's omit, that is reset, that is program and that is set. It really can't be any clearer than that. Why they put these symbols on is beyond me.